morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guests, Elizabeth Brown. Let's welcome Elizabeth Brown. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hi, Dr. Moby.
Thank you for tuning in. Elizabeth
Yes,
Brown,
thanks for having
she's
me.
yes, thank you. Elizabeth Brown is great author. About her, she wrote great two books. We're gonna talk about those two books today. And so, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. So if anyone knows where the George Floyd stuff happened at, that's about 15 to 30 minutes away from where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see, I graduated from Southwest Minnesota State University, which is like 3.5 hours from where I live. Um, I'm a case manager as a full-time profession or full-time job. And then I'm an author of Unwanted Confessions Confirmed in Sour Lemonade.
Okay. So, and tell us a little bit about your writing. Do you normally write, or do you have this is the first two of your work?
No, I've been writing since I was a young girl, and poetry has just been my outlet. It's been where I felt like I could talk to something, and not necessarily get a response, but I felt at peace once I wrote my work. So these poems stemmed from years and years ago. The first poem I started writing again was in 2006 because I had lost my poetry in middle school. And then at that point, I just felt like poetry wasn't for me and I needed to take a different route in life. And I wasn't sure what that route was because I was only in middle school. But
Mm-hmm.
when I got in college, so it took me from middle school all the way to college to figure out what helped me in the past. And it turned out that it was poetry. So that's where poetry stemmed from, is me as a young girl. And that's what Unwanted Confessions Confirmed and Sour Lemonade are about.
Mm-hmm.
They reflect my life and growing up and how confused I was as a child and things, and how poetry really was my outlet and that thing I could talk to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So these two books are basically poetry books, or and they're based on your experience as a child growing up, right?
Yes, they're both poetry books and they're based on my experiences. They're based on things that I've just seen in my life. They're based on things that other people have gone through. Um, so yeah, has a
Mm.
lot of good information in there.
Okay, great, great. And so, tell me, when did you start writing them?
Well, I started writing again in 2006. That's when I started writing, and that's the first poem in Sour Lemonade,
Mm-hmm.
and it's The Perfect Garden. That poem came from my grandmother passing away. I had just recently moved out of her home, and it was finals week, and she had passed away, and I had to drop everything and leave. And at that point, I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't know what to do. She
Mm-hmm.
was, she was my rock, to say the least. And so
Mm-hmm.
poetry is where I turned to, and The Perfect Garden is the poem that was the first poem I wrote again since middle school.
Mm. Okay, very nice. Would you like to share some of the verses or from the poems?
Oh, absolutely. I can share some work with you.
Sure, sure. Let's hear.
Okay. Well, first, I'll just tell you a little bit about Unwanted Confessions Confirmed. So, this book is a story of a young girl as an adult that has been tested with triumphs, tragedy, knowledge, morals, values, and of course, confessions. And it's about the younger me and growing up. And
Mm-hmm.
it talks about love, it talks about rejection, it talks about addiction, it talks about finding your place and just trying to figure out who you are as a person. And that's
Mm-hmm.
all through poetry.
Okay, wow.
So,
So, and so, yeah, yeah. Feel free to share any with any of them. That's
yep. I'll share. I'll share this one called Black Child, and then I'll share the poem Energy of a Lesbian that's actually on the back of the book.
Okay, no, bro.
So, Black Child. I cry because I hurt. I smile because I'm afraid. I laugh because the pain fades. My heart beats because I was conceived through the dark in the garage on the back. I speak because my lips are told to. I care because I can love. I listen to your heartbeat because I can hear life. I asked you to promise me because you mean the world. To embrace your grace makes me feel strong. To embrace my conscience makes me feel more powerful than a thug.
Wow, wow, what a powerful statement.
That
Very
is
nice.
Black Child. Um, well, actually, I'll read, if you don't mind. I'll
Sure.
read one of my favorite, which since it's around the George Floyd stuff and they're still doing jury selection and things like that, we are very in tune here in Minnesota with the George
Yeah,
Floyd stuff. So, it's amazing that I'm in the midst of all of that. And so being in the midst of it, I wrote a poem called Recollection, and I'll read that one. This
sure.
one, I will tell you, it may make people a little uncomfortable, but that's okay because it's just to wake people up. That's all. It's not to, you know, discriminate against anybody.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Recol-
no, we, yeah. Go ahead.
Recollection.
Mm.
The thought of one being misunderstood to the point that the light is shining, but the brain is still dim. My energy is not your energy. We did not swim in the same pool. What makes my money less creditable than the next? You are not my master, and I am not your slave. Slave, you are not, am I? Master, my not, are we? Are you? We bleed the same. Or have we become so dumb to the fact that our brain is like fried okra on Thanksgiving Day? Hard on the outside, mushy on the inside. Sad. Facts. His neck was treated like a check. You played the system against him for 8 minutes, 46 seconds, attempted to bounce back and collect more unreported taxes. Floyd's life is worth more than $464,433. Even the wife knew that. Singing Usher
Mm.
papers after the indictment, only to play cat and mouse in your own entrapment. Released on a $1 million bond and fled the state. Murder with no justice and called a faulty case. Fast
Wow.
forward to the burning flames of America. You're black, I'm black, but you act like a white supremacist that don't give a damn about what makes me me. At least the term black supremacy contains the color of your skin. When it was time to think about how your end became your beginning, you backed out. Scared? Even that was too much of a black fact.
Oh,
My
wow.
black brother, don't forget your mama was once labeled poor, which made your family systematically oppressed. Mama worked 3 jobs and daddy was there but wasn't present. See, I told you wasn't all that in a bag of chips. You're black then, you're black now, you'll be black when you wake your black ass up tomorrow. Stop the Michael Jackson acts. Racism, injustice. Wilmington, North Carolina, 1898. Red Summer, 1919. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921. King's assassination, 1968. Rodney King, 1992. Ferguson, Missouri, 2014. Baltimore, Maryland, 2015. Minneapolis, Minnesota, my home state, 2020. Did we forget to educate that thing we call a brain? Instantly smothered. Too caught up in being authority. Blue silence code. You don't even see that your black is my black, and they'll stand on your back. They'll stand on your back once your black is active, actively fighting for what's right. George Floyd and justice for all. Growth
Mm.
outside the body demands irrefutable systematic modifications, yet keeping every existing person educated about race injustice change. I am my brother's keeper. Not every life matters until Black Lives Matter. That last statement says, God is my keeper. I am my brother's keeper. Not every life matters until Black Lives Matter. That is
Wow.
recollection from Unwanted Confessions Confirmed.
Okay, great. So I think it's very powerful, and I'm so sorry. It brings back those memories, and sad. And we are all very sad to learn that, and we support equal rights, and we of course always support everybody treated equally. Myself, I'm also non-white, so as you can see, we also all face different kind of. Now we Asians are facing because of COVID, as you know.
Well,
So
absolutely. And I believe that all lives matter. I truly believe that in my heart that all lives matter. But if all lives are going to matter, then African American lives need to be included in all.
yeah, yeah, and definitely, and I believe that too. That there are definitely a lot of incidents which some you have pointed out, and then some of those definitely we need to look and educate people and tell what is wrong, what is not right, and so I think we can really make a difference once the awareness is there, education is there. Tell what is wrong. I mean, I think it's everybody's right to point out the wrong from right, and then bring attention to those, and then I think we can do that with education, with realization, with actually telling people what is wrong, you know so I
Exactly.
think your book definitely brings a lot of awareness, right? So, and then by good means, by the best means to educate and to bring poetry and to literature. I think when president was sworn in, I think you saw that there were some poems. She I think did a fantastic job, right? I really liked
Yeah,
her.
that was great.
So I think there's definitely, and literature is always affected by current affairs. I mean, where I think poets are sensitive people like yourself, and we feel that they get that's their expressive creative way of telling what is going on, right? and
Exactly. We try
and
to I think I can speak for all poets when I say that first off, the art is lost. A lot of people don't read poetry, and if they do, they don't understand it. So it's like they'll read a poem and just go on to the next one without analyzing what it is. So I think that I can say for all poets that it is our creative way of speaking to something, to feeling better about whatever situation we've gone through. And we feel like we have no one to talk to at that time. Absolutely.
sure. So I think I'm going to make a point that more we write, more we do awareness, more we write books, and more we write literature, more. I mean, we are, I think, the peace-loving nation, and but we also want justice also want to make sure everybody uh, realizes what is wrong, right?
Exactly. And that's what that last piece says. Growth outside the body demands irrefutable systematic modifications, yet keeping every existing person educated about race and justice change. So yes, I agree with you that everyone needs to be educated about what's happening in the world.
Yeah, yeah. And then definitely, there is a big chapter or big part of the history
Hmm.
where blacks were not treated right and at all. They were slaves, right? I mean, we have, and then there were, so I mean, we can't ignore that. If anybody
Right.
has doubt, they can go to the to this museum also, right? In DC, we have a museum.
Exactly.
I mean, so there were definitely incidents where they were there, and to overcome that, and then to we can't ignore that, right? So I mean,
Right.
and we cannot. So what is was wrong and wrong is still going to be wrong. Okay, today is so I think this is a great effort that you are doing the creative work and you are bringing attention to. And then there are a lot of other things which beside education, what I worry about also healthcare. So, I see being a doctor, I see a lot of discrepancy between different groups. Okay.
Hmm.
So the health wise, they have, kind of lowest in terms of their numbers, which is very sad because, um,
Yeah. I
this
mean, we've
is.
lost so many people due to COVID, and just I think the level of stress that has risen in our communities, has really just kind of not been on people's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another, and also, brings important discussion is that, to give awareness to everyone, especially, ethnic groups, is that, there, so look at COVID, they kind of created more death in certain ethnic groups, and that is because of their health. Okay.
Yes.
So, and that is very sad because then, that brings to important discussion. Then,
Absolutely.
first, why they are in bad shape. So, second is, what can be done more. So, do they need
Right.
more assistance? Absolutely. Do they need more health education? Yes. Do they need to self realization and making sure
Yeah.
their socioeconomic condition is bad? Absolutely. More are jobless, homeless. There we are facing stigma of all kind, right? So then, there are a lot of things which are wrong, right? And then,
Yes.
um, if we don't say that they are wrong, then nobody knows they're wrong, right?
Yeah. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows, and nobody knows that a lot of also the vaccination rate. We have seen they were less actually in in certain ethnic groups. Which
Hmm.
is also bad. So I think there is a lot of work needs to be done, and we need creative people like yourself to bring to the general public that what is wrong is wrong.
And
That-
that's why Sour Lemonade is a perfect book after COVID to read as far as poetry goes, because that one is a constant reminder of keeping your loved ones close, regaining power and strength within yourself. And so I think that those poems are perfect to read,
Mm,
after COVID, when your stress level has gone down and you'd like to just gravitate towards the ones that you love, and
mm,
you would also like to be heard about something, because we've all been in a house, right? And we haven't been heard out to anyone outside of the people that are in our immediate circles. So we have things that we want to tell friends, we have things that we want to tell random people, so that's a perfect book for that.
mm. Oh, that is very nice. So that is, another thing, of course, with COVID is because we haven't met anyone and we haven't, not too many people, we have not been socializing. As a result, we have so many stories to tell. And uh,
Seriously, we do.
uh, there is one thing whenever we have any tragedy or any difficult time in life. I think there's one thing that whether you can do something about it or not. The other thing is whether you can even talk or meet or at least share, the grief. Well,
Yes.
that was kind of cut down by only we could do Zoom, like you and me. We can at least that's the only thing we can do, right? Talk on
Yeah.
yeah, remote. Beside that, but humans are social animals, so we like to have some kind of interaction, even minimal, but we need that, right? We need to go out,
Mhm.
we need to see each other, we need to share our grief or even talk, right? But yeah, COVID is very hard. Yeah.
COVID
You
has
know.
been hard. I had a family member pass away due to COVID, and that poem is actually in this book, Sour Lemonade, as well. And it was just very hurtful because we couldn't go to see her. We had to
Oh
sit
my.
in the lobby, and we had to use, I mean, at first we didn't have an option. They didn't give us any option. And then there was a actual police officer who bought over these tablets and said, hey, I found a way where you guys can at least see your family member. So we had to see her on Zoom, but she wasn't, of course she wasn't coherent or anything, but we couldn't go up to her room at all and see her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be very painful. And but see her, and actually, my mother-in-law passed away not from COVID, but from died. And with this COVID situation, you can do funerals.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do very limited. So there was time they would say you couldn't see her body or touch her. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I could see how painful was that. It
Yeah.
is very
It's really
painful. Yeah, I mean, doing a funeral or something like that on Zoom, uh, it is very painful.
absolutely it is for everybody.
So, and then we, sitting and so when I saw there was a big difference when they allowed few people to go in and at least see her body. There was a difference. I see
That was
that.
definitely a difference. It could only be for a funeral here. We could only have, I think, 15 people in at a time.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
funeral
exactly.
was like really long, and it turned out to be so long just because of the amount of people we couldn't have in there.
Mm, yeah, exactly. But still, I think humans need to, we are even we know the person has died, but there's a feeling, that
Uh-huh.
uh, we don't heal. I mean, nobody will heal, but that's very painful. Not to be able to touch them or see them, and then whether they're living or not living. That either way, it's. I think for humans, we are a species like that. That we have to have some interaction, right?
Yes, we must have interaction with other people. And so
Mhm.
it's just not a good situation. But hopefully within the next year, right, we'll be back to some normalcy. We can talk to people and, go out, and maybe we'll still wear masks, but it won't be
Yeah,
as severe as it is now.
yeah, and make sure. I hope people are getting vaccination where you live.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great.
I,
So,
I'm not getting the vaccination, but that's a personal choice. I just, God didn't, you know, give me COVID, so I don't feel the need to get the vaccination. But I've seen that it works for other people, and I'm not discrediting anybody that gets it. In fact, I encourage people to get it if you feel like you need it.
okay, but that's your personal choice. But my advice to everyone is I got both shots. So my advice is to get it because you don't want to get any disease. Period. Um,
Hmm.
and COVID is not one of them that you really want to test your luck. So
No.
so that you yes, people recover. Yes, do they do, and whether but you never know how your body is going to react to any disease, even to simple viral infection, um,
Hmm.
because some people just kind of system really shuts down, and then we have a lot of complications, and
Hmm.
unfortunately people die. uh, so my advice always, if you have a chance to make something, better to take your chances and do better job. It's
Well,
like,
exactly. I agree with that.
but I would encourage, yes, I mean, you could have personal reason, I understand completely. Some people have, but overall still, recommend immunization, for
Well,
all kind of
absolutely.
people.
I agree with you. If people need to, if it's going to make a situation better, I absolutely encourage people to make their situation better for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, sure. So I think that's definitely is gonna. But I think it's great book, great read that to at least can share the grief which we all went through, and I think you
Would you
pointed
mind
it
if
out.
I read one poem from Sour Lemonade just so people
Sure,
can hear what type
yeah,
of
sure,
poems are here?
sure, go ahead.
Okay. Um, so I'll actually read the poem that I wrote for my cousin during COVID. I mean, since we were speaking about COVID and things like that. So it's called A Long Walk. Defining your life under a magnifying glass is to see the hidden pain, to feel the tragedies, to understand that you were not designed to remind anyone that your pain did not keep you behind, but it made you blessed. Blessed to the point when the doctor said yes, God said no, not yet. Me over my flesh is what I want you to remember. My children are a reflection of me. So help guide them to God and He'll lead them through the darkness. Inhale and exhale protection over them. Be a shoulder they can cry on. Be the ear that can listen. Breathe bravery and understanding down their spines. They are growing with time. My loving spirit, my bright soul, and my unapologetic attitude that are the same things that molded this jewel. Crossing between two worlds to make sure you've made peace with the little things. God said, stop. Take an intermission. Tania, just breathe. These are the things we'll never know she wanted to say because of COVID-19. First, it was two people at a time, then four a day, and still we're forced to be sane. But look at God. It quickly became possible for your family to say, we love you and pray. God had a better plan for my pain. He'll never make a mistake. So don't cry for me. Rejoice with me. I'm blessed, less stressed, and free on my long walk to heaven.
Wow,
So
wow.
that's the experience that we had. That's what they told us at the hospital. That it was two people at first, and then it was four a day. And then when I went up there, the lady says, "Oh, well, can't she walk down?" And that was very hurtful for me because my cousin is laying on her deathbed, and you literally asked me if she can walk downstairs to see me. And so that's where this poem stemmed from. And truthfully, I think the words just came from God because if you can tell in the poem, it was like she was talking back.
Mm.
And I didn't map that out and say, this is how I want the poem to be. That's just how it came out.
Yeah, yeah, that is a very, very nice poem, and very sad, that it
Mm-hmm.
really. So, talking of poem, I actually had my song too. It's Unsung Heroes, and we honored all the healthcare providers, also lost lives, and first responders who are on this fight, at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my colleagues lost lives too, and nurses, and they're every day putting their lives at risk for all of us. So that is,
Absolutely. That's a tough job.
it's a very tough job. And then sadness is that we see people suffering in front of our eyes, and then they dying. So so that is very sad. It is just, I think, it's the hardest year ever anyone
Mm-hmm.
could do professionally, because that for so many years you never had any life losses in front of you like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to see people going downhill and getting worse and worse is very painful.
It's very painful.
So I hope things get better, and we pray everybody is safe and everybody is. getting better. So, any final thoughts you have for our conversation?
Um, I just want to encourage your audience to believe in yourself. COVID-19 has taken so much away from us. It has taken away from our families. So just believe in yourself. Give yourself that permission to get up and continue another day, because your cup is not half empty, it's half full.
And that's such a powerful statement. Yeah. And thank you. Where can people get your book? Is it on Amazon or is it?
Yes, so if they want an ebook copy, they can get it on Amazon. I have been having a little trouble getting it on paperback there,
Mhm.
but they can find me on Facebook at Lizzie Brown or The Lost Art of Poetry. It's the same Facebook page. And if they want to find me on Instagram, it's Beauty BEAUTII 28. And they can just direct message me and I'll ship them the book and we can handle things that way, because I
Okay.
have the physical copies and I can do signed and non-signed copies.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. You take care. Stay safe. Keep writing. And thank you for
Oh,
coming
I
here.
suppose I should let them know how much the books are. So
Oh,
they're $10, but if you want a signed copy, then it's $15.
okay. No, makes sense. Okay. You take care. Thank you for
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Moby.
take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.